Welcome back to Eyewitness News this morning, 436-1212. That's the number to call if you have a legal question. We have Charley O'Hara here in the studio to answer your questions for you. And Charley, one big question people have right now is about school funding. Today is the last day of the legislative session officially for lawmakers in Topeka as they go back. But there is an option for them to not talk about school funding and potentially sue the federal-wise and get it past the state Supreme Court.
Yeah. Well,
and what would have that happen then?
Well, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do that. My understanding of the basis of that decision was the decision was based on the Kansas Constitution and whether or not they have fair, equitable, the same type financing for each district. Because as we know, we have, like in the Wichita metropolitan area, we have the Wichita School District, the Mays School District, the Andover School District, the Derby School District, the Goddard School District. I think there's more. And they all kind of come into Wichita, so sometimes it really causes some problems. And I think it's based on the real estate of that area. So some areas have a lot more money than other areas because the real estate's worth more. And it causes some problems. I think the Supreme Court and the legislature are trying to work that out where it's equitable and fair to everybody. It's interesting how they want to get to federal court. If they do, it'll probably take quite a long time, so they'll have to find something in the interim to keep it going. We
have Pilar heading to Topeka today. You can follow her at KWCH Pilar for updates there. Charley, also another interesting case that happened recently is a woman who had her purse stolen at the Walmart, Kellogg and Greenwich, and a couple of citizens stepped in and made a citizen's arrest. One of them had a gun on him, had an open carry. Is that legal for him to do?
Well, it's kind of an interesting thing because there's a lot of issues involved. On a citizen's arrest, if you see a felony being committed, or if you have probable cause that a felony's been committed, or you see any crime other than like a traffic infraction or a tobacco type crime being committed, you can make a citizen's arrest. Now, if you legally have a gun, I suppose you can take legally that gun and hold that person there. Obviously, anytime you get a gun out in a situation like that, it can cause some real problems. You don't know whether the other person has a gun. You don't know whether the person will grab the gun from you and hurt you. So you really need to use real good judgment when you do that.
And once that gun goes off, if it does, you're responsible for what happens if you're the one holding it. What happens with that bullet?
Yeah, well, there's a lot. Once you bring a gun into the equation or a knife or anything like that, a weapon, a lot of things can happen and a lot of problems can happen from that. So you need to really be careful when you do that.
Absolutely. And again, police in that case recommend you do not do that. It did work in that situation to hold the suspect there, but again, they recommend you do not do that at all. Thanks so much, Charley, for being here. Appreciate you.